The UK has been going through a cost of living crisis over the past few years. And I've been living in the UK now for about 3 years. And in those 3 years, I have about two different cost of living videos on my channel. And in each of those videos, my circumstances were different. So in my first cost of living video, it was just my husband and I. In my second cost of living video, I had a child. And now in my third cost of living video, I'm living in a bigger house, I've got two children, and I've got a car. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing my cost of living, which is basically just exactly how much I need to run my life at the basics. You guys know that on this channel, I always preach knowing your baseline, meaning that exactly how much you need to survive without any fancy things like eating out or traveling or none of that. Just the essential things that you need to keep your life running. So in this video, we're going to be dissecting it step by step so that we can arrive at how much my essentials are. And yeah, if that sounds like something that you want to watch, then keep on watching. Now, for us, the biggest expenditure that we have is our rent. We currently live in a 3-bedroom house, and it's got an office, it's got a living room, it's got 2 toilets, and it's got 1 bathroom. We have a garden and a garage, and that is the basic structure of our living space. Now, for this, we pay £2,000 a month. Now, the cost of rent is very variable, and it just depends on where exactly you are living in the UK. We live just outside London, and if you know anything about UK, you know that the closer you are to London, the more expensive your living cost tends to be. So for us, we pay £2,000 a month, and that is what this space costs us monthly. Now, we've been living here for about 2 years. We haven't had any rent increase in the past 2 years, but I'm aware that my landlord is trying to increase the rent. I'm not sure how we're going to handle that because honestly, I don't think that the rent should be increased. I think this is just about a fine. So I've spoken with a friend of mine who said we can negotiate and come to a middle ground. So we will negotiate that and see how that goes. But as of today, our rent costs £2,000 a month. Strongly related to housing costs, we need to heat up the house, we need to power the house, and we need, our lights, our sockets, our gas, everything to work. We currently use OVO, and they provide our gas and electricity. We are just coming out of winter, so we're no longer having to use our heaters so heavily. So at the moment, we currently spend £300 for gas and electric. We used to spend at the peak of winter because it was a priority for me to have the house heated up nice and warm. So we were spending almost £380 on heating. So it was quite expensive. So not just heating, I mean heating and electricity. Because we have a mobile electric heater, and we also have like heated blankets just to make sure that the house is warm and nice because I've got young children and I don't want them to really be struggling in the cold. So at the peak of winter, we're spending closer to £400, just under £400. So I think about 380 something. But now, because we're coming into spring, it has dropped quite a bit. So we're spending about £300 on gas and electric. In the UK, you have to pay council tax, and the council tax is basically a form of taxation that your local council needs to keep things running. So things like the library, things like picking up your waste, things like road maintenance, just basic things in your local council. And if you're not in the UK, a council is equivalent to like a local government. That's what I would call it. And we currently spend £161 for our council tax monthly. This value of the council tax varies really depending on the value of your property, where your property is located, how big it is, all of that. If you're single, if you've got people living with you, it really does vary. But for us at the moment, our council tax bill is £161 a month. I'm aware that in Scotland, I think it is, you don't pay for water. Unfortunately, in England, we do have to pay for water. Now, when we first came into this place, we were paying about £35 a month for water. But recently, the water bill has gone up significantly, and now we pay £54 a month. And I'm aware that from April, they want to increase that water bill even more to about, I think it was £72 a month. That's what they sent to me. And I'm just so confused because why is the water bill so high? Um, in the house, we are myself, my husband, and grandma who comes to visit us. So somebody is usually with us. It could be my mom or my husband's mom, my sister, somebody. And that person obviously lives with us. So, and we've got 2 children. So we're about 5 people living in this house per time. Um, I don't know if £54 a month is a lot of money for 5 people, but I genuinely think it is because we were paying about 30 something pounds a month previously, but now they're even trying to increase the price to £72 a month. I don't know what that's about. And I'm so jealous of all the people who live in Scotland who don't have to pay for water because I don't understand why I'm paying for council tax and I'm still paying for water. Like, make it make sense. It doesn't make sense, but it is what it is. So that is the status quo for us, and that is exactly how much we spend on water. After water, we now move on to our car because I think we've spoken about all the bills that relate to the house. So we've talked about rent, we've talked about council tax, we've talked about gas and electric, we've talked about water. The next thing that we're going to talk about now is our car. We currently drive a Mercedes EQB. We have one car in the house. My husband and I share the car. And for this car, we decided to finance the car primarily because we didn't want to buy a used car that would give us problems because we've done some research and we found that obviously when buying a used car, it is really a hit or miss. Sometimes you're really lucky and your used car is all well and good. Other times you're having to go back and forth with the mechanic. And honestly, we didn't want that. So we did a bit of research at the time and Mercedes was offering a deal on all their electric cars. So we decided to get an electric car. Now for our car, we spend £361 13 pence monthly to finance the car. And we're going to finance this car for the next 4 years. So hopefully after that we can be free. I don't know. But at the moment we spend £361 13 pence monthly. Now, because my husband and I are new drivers in the UK. I only got my driving license about 7 months ago or thereabouts. My husband only got his driving license in January. Our insurance bill is quite high because we're classified as young and inexperienced drivers, even though my husband has been driving all the way since he was about 18 or even younger. But because this license is fresh and brand new, the insurance company does look at us as a risk. So we pay £173.22 for car insurance monthly. Thankfully, our car is an electric car, so we don't currently have to pay road tax. We just pay insurance and we obviously don't have any MOT bill because it's a new car as well. So the only expenditure for our car is the car finance and insurance. This insurance is a comprehensive insurance and it has a few add-ons really. So it can be slightly cheaper if we removed the insurance and maybe if we did third-party insurance alone. It could have been maybe about £40 cheaper if it was third-party insurance alone and if we removed all the add-ons. But we just wanted to be sure that God forbid there's any problems, we're not having to fix the car out of pocket because that is the most financially stressful thing. A friend of mine spent about £3,000 just fixing his Mercedes after he was involved in an accident because he only had third-party insurance. And that was really what influenced our decision to go with comprehensive insurance instead of third-party insurance. And again, because our car is electric, we also have charging costs. Now, I'm aware that the UK government has a grant for electric car owners who are renters. But we have strongly considered that grant because you can get up to, I believe, £400 towards the cost of installing an electric charger in your home. I spoke with my landlord and she said, go ahead, install the electric charger, do what you need to do. So I've gone ahead to find out the cost of installing electric chargers. But unfortunately, our socket, our power outlet for the house is so far away from the garage. It is almost 30 meters away from the garage because it has to go across the garden into the garage. And because the distance is so far, the wiring is also like a lot. So it was going to be costing us well over £1,000 to install the charger, and we're going to get £400 as a grant off the bill from the government, which was the grant for installing the charger. But that would have still taken our bill to almost £1,000. We would have still been spending about 900 and something pounds, and we thought, okay, if we're going to spend that amount of money when we're deciding to move out of here for any reason and move to our house or maybe the next place that we're deciding to go to, can we take our charger with us? And the cost of uprooting your charger where you are and moving it to your new place is just as expensive as getting a new charger in your new place. So we would have to still spend the cost of installing a charger in our new place and forfeit the cost of installing the charger here because the landlord wasn't willing to chip in anything. So we thought, this is not our house. Why are we going to install a charger free of charge for our landlord? It doesn't really make a lot of sense, bearing in mind that we're still going to have to repeat this cost in our house when we move. So and by God's grace, we don't really plan on staying here for so much longer. So we decided to just not install the charger and charge the car at night mostly. We've got a charger just around the corner, so we charge mostly at night, and we spend about £100 a month charging the car. When the car is full, it can do about 350 miles or so. So it can do a bit, but we charge just, I want to say, once or twice a week, and that usually would last us the whole week. Depends on how heavily we use it, but obviously if we're traveling a lot that month, we're going to have to charge a bit more. And the thing is, when you're traveling and you're having to top up on the road with the ultra fast chargers or whatever, those chargers are very expensive because they're actually quite fast with charging your car. But at the moment, we currently spend about £100 to £120 a month charging the car. Now, moving on, we are going to broadband. We use fiber optic broadband, and this broadband, I think our service provider is TalkTalk. Again, another reason why we decided not to install the charger is because our landlady or our landlord, when we moved into this house, our internet wasn't working. Now, that was because they were using the old type of internet. So when that plan expired, it was time to now move on to the fiber optic internet. And when OpenReach, which are the internet guys, came around to our place, they couldn't install it because apparently they needed to do some drilling and that and that and that. And that was going to cost about £400. So we now told the landlord that we need to do some drilling because we need internet, and it's going to cost £400. And the landlord said, I'm so sorry, there's nothing I can do about that. If it's so important to you, drill the hole yourself. And so we had this back and forth for about 3 months or so. We were without internet for about 3 months, and eventually we were the ones who were suffering. So we decided to just cough out that money, drill the hole, and OpenReach came and installed our internet for us. And at the time, the only people who were willing to work with us at that time were TalkTalk, and TalkTalk charges us £41 a month for the internet. It's quite fast. It does what it's supposed to do, but after spending that money drilling the hole, we were so upset because the landlord didn't even try to assist us financially with drilling the hole, bearing in mind that it's her property. We are going to move out, and that hole is going to be beneficial to every single person who moves into this property, like moving forward. But she didn't care. She said, "You're the one who's living there. If it bothers you, enough, then drill the hole and pay for it yourself." So that, seeing that that was the kind of approach that she had with the charger, installing the charger in this place would have upped the value of her property when she wants to rent it out, moving forward. And bearing in mind that she wasn't going to contribute anything to us installing the charger, we just said, we're not going to do that for you because you are just going to be taking us for granted. We will install the charger for you, and then what do we get in return? Nothing, So it just seems like a situation where you're the only one who's winning, and we don't want to be a part of that. Then moving on to my phone bill, I currently use EE. My husband and I use EE, my husband uses O2, I think. And collectively we spend about £40 on our phone. So that's just like data basically, because as I said, we already have Wi-Fi and we paid for our phone like outright. So we don't have like finance on the phone. We just pay for SIM only. Um And moving on to food. So the thing is, our food bill is a bit, I wouldn't say it's the most accurate, this food bill, because we do a lot of bulk shopping. So if you guys watch any of my vlogs, you would have seen like I bulk shop from the African store. And when I do that, I spend about £350 on like fish, meats, things like that. And those things typically last us for about 2 to 3 months on like the fish, the meats, the shaki, the turkey, chicken, whatever. Usually lasts us about 3 months. Now, within the course of the week, we would go to the shops and spend about £70 for a food top up. So things like tomatoes, vegetables, fruits, onions, stuff like that. But we've been trying to bring that cost down a lot, and I've been experimenting. So for the past month, we have been trying to bring that the weekly food top up to about £50 a week. And that includes like my baby's formula or whatever needs to happen. And for that, we have been successful so far, I'm going to say for the past month, because I have been super intentional about it when I go to the shops. And even because of that, I decided to stop shopping at Waitrose and now shop at Aldi because I'm trying to bring down the cost of this food shop. So at the moment, I can say that we are spending about £200 to £250 a month on food, minus the African food stuff that we do every 2 to 3 months. That costs us about £300. When you split that, it would be about £100 on top of the £300. So our food cost, I can say, would be about £400. Now, cleaning supplies and like mops, rags, stuff like that, disinfectants, all those things, I can say that we spend probably about £100. So like on food and household supplies, we probably spend about £500. And this is just a rough estimate of how much it costs us. As I said, we live on the outskirts of London, and my husband works in central London. So he has to go into work every single day, and it costs him about £20 to go into work, and he does that 5 days a week. So on an average, he spends about £400 a month going into work. I, on the other hand, can drive to work, so that would be included in the charging costs. So when you do the math and add all of that up, you would find that it's about £4,200, give or take, that it costs for us to stay afloat, for us to do the barest minimum. This doesn't include savings. This doesn't include investments. This doesn't include miscellaneous things. For example, when my parents come around, we pay for their visa fees, for their flights, for their obviously feeding while they are here. When they're leaving, we would buy them gifts, give them some money. This doesn't include that. And my daughter is obviously also going to be starting nursery soon enough. Thankfully, she's going to be turning 3 this year, so she would qualify for some government funded hours. That obviously isn't included as well in this. Um, she also does some swimming lessons. That isn't included in this as well, because as I said, we're just looking at the amount of money that you need to live your life like at the barest minimum. So for us, it is about £4,300 thereabouts. We're trying to bring this cost down significantly because we want to be able to live a cheaper life, give or take, so that we can be able to invest and save more and, build our wealth up a bit more. I decided to lump this amount of money together. So how much it costs our family. I'm not just saying how much it costs me. And that's because I've spoken about like finances in marriage on this channel. My husband and I don't split bills. We usually handle bills as a unit. So the lines between my finances and his finances are so blurry that they're non-existent, basically. I don't even know how much it would cost me if I even tried to do the math, but I just know that as a family, this is how much it costs us. As I say, it doesn't include things like getting my hair done or doing my lashes or, my husband going to get a haircut, doing nails. It doesn't include any of that. It just includes the barest minimum. But by the time you start to include hair, nails, lashes, haircuts, swimming lessons, this, that, and the third, easily another £600 can be added onto that. So we would be closer to £5,000 to keep the house floating. By the time you start to spread the cost of the grandma's flight tickets when they come visiting and the amount of money that we're giving them at the end when they're leaving, plus the little things here and there that we spend, by the time you spread that, you're definitely getting to £5,000 a month. Definitely. But even more, do you know what I mean? Even more. But at the end of the day, this is just what it costs us to live a basic life in the UK. Anyways, I know that the cost of living is really, really variable and it just depends on where you're living. As I said, we live just outside London, so we live in Essex, and this is how much it costs us to live in Essex. Obviously, if you live up north, places like Hull, or if you live in the Midlands, places like Coventry or Birmingham, you may find your cost of living to be cheaper. But for us, this is how much it is. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what your costs of living are down in the comment section. I can't wait to hear from you. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.